Mike Lindsley back with you. It's the ML Sports Platter, brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union in Bryant and Stratton College. Super cool to run into Terry Collins at the ballpark as we wait for the rain to get out of here and play some baseball. First question I want to ask you is, do you miss the everyday managerial grind?
Well, I miss the game. I miss the action. You spent your whole life competing, and so at 7:05, that's when the game is fun. But I don't miss all the other stuff that goes. The travel got tough, and so it's fun to go around, watch our system, take a look at our young players, and see who we got coming.
So if I gave you the crystal ball and I said 2019 World Series, who's getting there?
Well, I tell you, right now with the wild card the way it is, I'm going to tell you, I do a thing with Fox Sports out in L.A. and I told them last week, I said if the New York Mets get in, nobody's going to want to play them in a short series with our pitching. So I think it could be anybody's. I mean, it's easy to say you're looking at a Yankee-Dodger World Series, but anything can happen. And as we all know, some key injury could come up, or some team gets hot at the right time, and that's what happened to us in 2015. We got hot when we needed to get hot, and we got to the series.
It's funny you bring that up. I mean, do you feel like it's kind of getting more like the NCAA tournament, where it's even more of a crapshoot now because get hot late, you play a long year, you go maybe 4 months, you're not doing much, you go 3 weeks, have a great maybe stretch like that, 18 games, next thing you know, you're in first place. I mean, it's so wild now, and then you get in, you get hot late. It's almost like the Marlins in 2003.
That's exactly right, and that's what's fun about the game. I thought with the commission, if one thing Major League Baseball got right is when they added the second wild card. It just keeps the fan bases excited about their teams. Everybody, you're in it. I mean, a month ago, everybody's writing the Mets off. Next thing you know, now we're filling Citi Field again because we're back in a pennant race. So I just think it's great. I love the idea, and I'll tell you, all it is you got to get into postseason. When you do, anything can happen.
A couple more for Terry Collins, of course, former skipper of the Mets, and obviously you were a part of a pennant-winning team. When you take the field in a World Series, what's that like?
Well, it's the ultimate goal. Ever since you started playing as a little boy, playing Little League, you wanted to play in the World Series. And so when you finally get there, it's well worth all the time and all the work and all the effort that it took to get there. And certainly it was the greatest thrill of my career.
Catch my listeners up with what you're exactly doing these days.
Well, I still work for the Mets, and what I do is I go around our minor league system, and I watch our minor league players and just kind of report on it. Guys, I'm here watching the Syracuse team because September's coming. We know we got the call-ups coming, so I'm here watching some of the guys in the bullpen. I'm watching some of the guys that might be bench players that come off the bench, and certainly in a playoff situation. So, I give my report to Allard Barrett, our assistant general manager, and I've been to Binghamton. I've seen some of our younger players, and so it's nice to know that the game's in good hands. There's a lot of good young players out there.
Awfully nice, too, to take a 1-hour flight and a 4-hour drive as opposed to going to Vegas, so I'm sure you like that, too. That's the chain up and the chain down in New York State. Are you an analytical guy? What do you think about the game today? There's so many numbers, so much sabermetric stuff going on.
Well, there's a place for it. I think it's great for the coaches to use it. It's a good coaching tool, but I don't think that doesn't make a player. I don't think you can take a guy and say, well, we've got to get a better spin rate on his fastball so he can throw it harder. Look, it's all about, Bartolo Colon is the perfect example. Hey, it's about location. It'll always be about location. In today's game, everybody throws 95 miles an hour. Well, guess what? Now you throw it over the middle plate, it's going to get hit because, a few years ago, they threw it by hitters. They can't do that anymore. And so it still goes back to location, and numbers can't teach that. You've got to be able to do that. That's the coaching staff. That's being able to get the guys, body in the right positions, and no numbers can dictate that.
Do you remember the first day you fell in love with a game?
Well, I grew up in a sports family, and my father was a very, very good athlete. And when I was a little bitty boy, we started playing catch, and I fell in love with baseball. And when you're a small guy like me, it was the one game that you knew you didn't have to be big to play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt. I'll let you run. I appreciate you spending some time here with me, and we'll get some baseball in here tonight. Thanks, Terry.
Sounds good. Nice to have you.
Mike Lindsley here with you. It is the ML Sports Platter, brought to you by Empower Federal Credit Union, Bryant and Stratton College, and our good friends at Timberbanks Golf Club. Hit me on Twitter at Mike L Sports. Thanks again to Terry Collins, and as I always tell you, enjoy the games.